Part 21.11 Al-Anbiya, the Prophets. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Sufi Essence with Hammad Syed. We continue our profound and enlightening journey through the heart of Surah Al-Anbiya, a sacred chapter that serves as a powerful testament to the timeless nature of divine guidance and the eternal struggle between truth and falsehood. We have so far explored the powerful arguments for divine justice, the blessed nature of the Quran, and the spiritual blindness of those who deny its truth. Today, we begin a new and majestic segment. Delving into the story of Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him, a figure of unparalleled faith and spiritual courage, we will explore verses 51 to 56, which present his powerful and rational argument against idol worship, his unwavering defiance in the face of a polytheistic society, and his bold declaration of pure monotheism. These verses are not merely a historical account. They are a timeless lesson in intellectual honesty, spiritual fortitude, and the unshakable certainty that the idols of the world, whether of stone or of ego, are utterly powerless. Kanzel Aman, Quran, Al-Anbiya, the Prophets, 21:51, verse 51. And we had certainly given Abraham his sound judgment before, and we were of him knowing. This verse opens the narrative of Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him, with a profound statement about his inner spiritual state and Allah's perfect knowledge of him. The phrase "we had certainly given Abraham his sound judgment before," or rushda min kabel, refers to a divine gift of inner clarity, intellectual discernment, and spiritual maturity that he was granted from a young age. This was not something he acquired through worldly education, but a profound and innate wisdom bestowed upon him by his Creator. This spiritual insight, this sound judgment, allowed him to see beyond the folly and superstition of his people and to recognize the singular truth of divine unity. The verse then concludes with a beautiful and reassuring statement, "And we were of him knowing." This means that Allah had perfect and intimate knowledge of Abraham's sincerity, his heart, and his unwavering commitment. Allah knew that Abraham was the perfect vessel for this divine mission. This verse reminds us that true wisdom is a divine gift, and that a person's inner spiritual state, their sincerity and their purity, is fully known and appreciated by Allah. The Sufi understands this as a testament to the fact that spiritual insight, or rushd, is a light from the divine that illuminates the heart and guides the intellect, and that Allah prepares his chosen servants from a very young age for the monumental tasks that lie ahead. Kanzel Aman, Quran, Al-Anbiya, the Prophets, 21:52. Verse 52. When he said to his father and his people, "What are these images to whose worship you are devoted?" This verse begins the powerful dialogue of Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him, with his father and his people, a society deeply entrenched in idol worship. His approach is not one of condemnation or aggression, but one of a simple, logical inquiry. The question, "What are these images to whose worship you are devoted?" is both gentle and piercing. He is asking them to simply identify what they are worshiping. The Arabic word tamathel refers to sculpted images or statues, and akafan implies a state of being devoted to them, of constantly attending to their worship. Abraham's question is a profound call to intellectual honesty and rational reflection. He is inviting them to think for themselves, to look at the idols with fresh eyes, and to question a practice that has been blindly passed down through generations. This is the first step in a spiritual revolution, to ask the most basic of questions that challenge the most deeply held traditions. Kanzel Aman, Quran, Al-Anbiya, the Prophets, 21:53, verse 53. They said, "We found our fathers worshipping them." This verse records the profound and telling response of Abraham's people. Their answer is not a logical defense of their practice, but a simple appeal to tradition. They said, "We found our fathers worshipping them." This is a classic and timeless argument of the spiritually blind. Their belief is based on nothing but blind following of their ancestors. They have no evidence, no proof, and no rational reason for their actions. The phrase, "we found our fathers," is a testament to the power of tradition and the comfort of the familiar. It is easier to follow the path that has been laid out by one's forefathers than to embark on a difficult and solitary journey in search of the truth. This response perfectly encapsulates the spiritual stagnation of a society that has become disconnected from its own intellect and its own spiritual core. The Sufi understands this as a lesson in the dangers of blind imitation. Taqlid. The path to truth is one of personal discovery and direct connection with the Creator, not one of unthinking adherence to the traditions of the past. Kanzel Iman Quran, Al-Anbiya, the Prophets, 2154, verse 54. He said, "You have certainly been, you and your fathers, in clear error." After their weak and illogical response, Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him, delivers a direct and powerful counterargument, said, "You have certainly been, you and your fathers, in clear error." The Arabic word for error, dalalan mubin, implies a state of being completely and utterly lost, in a clear and undeniable spiritual and intellectual delusion. Abraham's statement is not an insult but a statement of fact. It is a direct and courageous challenge to their entire way of life. He is telling them that their ancestors' actions were based on a fundamental error and that their blind following of that error is equally misguided. He is putting the responsibility back on them, forcing them to confront the reality that their tradition is not a source of truth, but a source of delusion. This required immense spiritual fortitude, as he was speaking truth to power, challenging the most sacred traditions of his society. Hadith. A powerful hadith from Sahih al-Bukhari, Book 60, Hadith 48, complements this verse. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "I have been given the keys of the words, and I have been given victory with fear, and while I was sleeping, the keys of the treasures of the earth were brought to me and put in my hand." This hadith highlights the divine gift of powerful and succinct words that the prophets were given. Abraham's statement is a perfect example of such a divine gift, a short, powerful phrase that cut to the very core of their spiritual error. Kanzal Iman Quran, Al-Anbiya, the Prophets, 2155 verse 55, they said, "Have you brought us the truth, or are you among those who jest?" This verse reveals the people's reaction to Abraham's profound statement. They are so taken aback by his words that they cannot fathom their sincerity. They ask him, "Have you brought us the truth, or are you among those who jest?" This question is a classic manifestation of the spiritually deaf. They are so unaccustomed to hearing the truth that they cannot distinguish it from a joke. The word for jest, hazulun, is the same root word used to describe the mockery the disbelievers had for the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in earlier verses. This shows the universal pattern of defiance. When a heedless person is confronted with a truth they cannot refute, their only recourse is to dismiss it as a joke. This reaction exposes their profound intellectual and spiritual immaturity. They would rather believe that Abraham is playing a prank than admit that their entire way of life is a delusion. Kanzal Iman, Quran, Al-Anbiya, the Prophets, 2156. Verse 56, he said, "Rather, your Lord is the Lord of the heavens and the earth, who created them, and to that I am one of the witnesses." This final verse in our segment is Prophet Abraham's, peace be upon him,
masterful
and definitive response to their mockery. He does not dignify their question with a direct answer about his sincerity. He answers with the ultimate truth. He said, "Rather, your Lord is the Lord of the heavens and the earth, who created them." This statement is a profound and majestic declaration of divine unity and the ultimate source of all power. He is telling them that the one true Lord is not a piece of stone, but the creator of the entire cosmos. He shifts their focus from their powerless idols to the magnificent reality of the universe around them. The creation of the heavens and the earth is the ultimate and undeniable proof of a creator's existence and power. He then adds a powerful and personal statement, and to that, I am one of the witnesses. This is not just an intellectual argument. It is a personal testimony. He is bearing witness to this truth, not from an outside perspective, but from a profound inner spiritual certainty. He is inviting them to become witnesses to this truth as well, to open their eyes and their hearts to the signs that are all around them. The Sufi understands this as the pinnacle of faith, to not only believe in a truth, but to be a witness to it, to have one's entire being resonate with the reality of the divine. Hadith, narrated by Abu Huraira. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Every human being is born on the natural disposition of Islam, but his parents make him a Jew, Christian, or a Magian. As a sheep is born a lamb, so is a human born a Muslim. Sahih al-Bukhari, Book 23, Hadith 441. This hadith beautifully complements the story of Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him. It highlights that the natural disposition of every human soul is to know and worship the one Creator, and it is the influence of society and tradition that leads them astray. Abraham's spiritual clarity was a return to this pristine state, a perfect manifestation of the natural disposition of faith that all people are born with. Let us now supplicate, drawing from the profound lessons of these verses, asking Allah to grant us a deeper understanding and to guide our every step. O Allah, the Lord of Abraham, we seek refuge in you from the darkness of ignorance and the folly of blind imitation. Grant us the spiritual discernment and intellectual clarity that you've bestowed upon your prophet. Strengthen our hearts to stand for your truth, even when we are alone. Help us to see beyond the false idols of our time and to worship you alone, with a heart of sincere devotion. O most merciful, make us of those who are witnesses to your magnificent creation and who live in a state of constant submission to your will. May Allah illuminate your heart and mind with the light of this divine ilm. May He make your channel a beacon of guidance for all who seek spiritual clarity and truth. May your efforts be a source of immense reward, and may you be granted the highest stations of paradise. May the peace and blessings of Allah always be upon you and your loved ones. May He grant you unwavering steadfastness on the path of truth, and may your work be a testament to His magnificent names, Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. Ameen.